What's on my central unit is the Central Man here. So this is my review of WCW Bash of the Beach 1995. This show was on the actual beach. Um, this is in Hudson Beach, California. Because this I think is the first and only time that a wrestling show or a wrestling pay-per-view did a wrestling event on an actual beach. Give WCW some props. Yeah, it was on the 16th of July, 1995. The attendance for the show was, I checked it on Wikipedia, is was it 9,500, and the buy rate for Bash of the Beach 95 is I think it was a 0.8, I think it's about 8.5. It's a 7.85. Actually, it's about it's between 160,000 to 180,000 pay-per-view buys. Really, this is a decrease from the 1994 Bash of the Beach event. That was the very first one in WCW history. I did review Bash of the Beach 94 months ago. I got my facts wrong. Because that show's got about I think it was a 1.4 buy, but unfortunately I checked it up. It was a 1.2 buy for that show, and it's about 225,000 pay-per-view buys because the main event of that show was Ric Flair defending the WCW World Heavyweight Championship against Hulk Hogan in Hulk Hogan's first match in the company. Anyway, so yeah, and by the way, good fun trivia. This pay-per-view is also, at the same time, they were filming an episode of Baywatch. The stars, really like the wrestlers who appeared on that episode of Baywatch are Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster, and Ric Flair. Flair's like owner, he's trying to tear down the youth center. I think you'd probably find it on YouTube or Netflix. And the two matches was on the episode of Baywatch was Flair versus Savage and Hogan versus Vader. I'll get to those matches really later on this review. Anyway, so the commentators for Bash of the Beach on 95 are Tony Schiavone and Bobby the Brain Heenan. Anyway, so by the way, this is really the last WCW pay-per-view before the start of the Monday Night War era. It'll be later on in really autumn of that year. Anyway, so the first match to kick off Bash of the Beach of 1995, we got you got Sting defending the United States Championship against Ming. This is basically the rematch from the Great American Bash. Sting defeated Ming in the tournament to crown the new United States champion. In Ming's corner, you got Colonel Robert Parker. Anyway, this was an okay match. To be honest, it was a bit boring I'm not a big fan of Haku or Ming. He's just he's a slow-paced monster, to be honest. Like, he does, he's like, this is a decade before, Umaga, but with Haku, Ming, he does like the kicks, he does like the chops, he does that type of karate type of thing, he does that thing with the throats. I think it's called the Tongan Death Grip. This is like decades before, Umaga doing the Samoan Spike. At least Sting carried him to a good match because the only 2 matches or 3 matches I covered, Ming and Haku. Actually, 4 matches. His match with Duggan at an Uncensored. He was in the tag team match with the Barbarian against the Outsiders at Starrcade 96. The previous Sting and Ming match from the Great American Bash. And also I covered WrestleMania 6 on this channel. He was Haku. He was in the tag team. It was a colossal connection versus, I think it was the Road Warriors. Is it Road? No, Demolition, sorry. Anyway, and that was a good match. But anyway, so this match at Bash of the Beach between Sting and Ming, it was okay. Yet Ming kind of got out the really fought out the Scorpion Deathlock, and I think basically Sting was going for like the Stinger Splash, but Ming, I think he kicked him in the face. That was sick. It didn't, I felt like Sting was knocked out, but he kind of recovered. He got a little bit of interference by Colonel Robert Parker. In the end, Sting pinned Ming with really a roll up to win this match, and then afterwards you got Ming attack Sting, and then you got Road Warrior Hawk came to the rescue. Yeah, it was an okay match, to be honest. It wasn't like bad, bad, but at the same time, it's not gonna be like a 4-star classic. At least it was an okay match to kick off the pay-per-view. And then we got, oh boy, we got the Renegade defending the TV championship against Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. The last time I covered a Renegade match was basically against Arn Anderson for the TV title at Great American Bash of 1995. I think it was about 2 months ago, and Renegade defeated Arn Anderson for the title. Oh boy. The Renegade is basically WCW's alternative to the Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, Warrior debuted the company in 98, but at the time, I think Warrior was taking a hiatus from pro wrestling, having been in pro wrestling since 1992. He came back in 96 to squash Triple H at WrestleMania 12, but yeah, WCW did this alternative version of the Ultimate Warrior, and he's known as the Renegade, and the Renegade is Richard Wilson. The difference between Richard Wilson and Jim Hellwig, with Jim Hellwig, the Warrior, he was all right in the ring, to be honest. He wasn't bad, but he's not like an in-ring general like a Bret Hart, a Shawn Michaels, an AJ Styles, Triple H in some degree, or Steve Austin when he was Steve Austin, Owen Hart. But he was okay for what it is. He has personality, he has charisma, and he has the most, he's got one of the most freakiest physiques in pro wrestling history. That's Jim Hellwig, the Warrior. As for Richard Wilson, the Renegade, he doesn't have the Warrior's personality. He doesn't have the Warrior's charisma. I think he always shouts and grunts and roars. And his physique is okay, but it's not the Warrior's. And also, and by the way, back to this match. This match was shit. Between the Renegade and Orndorff. With the fans were. This is not Bizarro Land, because Bizarro Land, that's in Canada. But you got the fans were, the Renegade is the face and Orndorff as the heel. Unfortunately, the fans were cheering for Paul Orndorff. I think they were chanting "Wonderful, wonderful," and they were booing the Renegade. The Renegade was so exposed in this match. The Renegade, I'm not gonna do Ill of the Dead. He cannot fucking work. He completely trashed in the ring, because look at he developed, he hit that crappy clothesline on Arn Anderson at the previous month's match on the previous month's pay-per-view, Great American Bash in '95. In this match, he was doing a lot of shitty drop kicks. This dude cannot. He was putting on a lot of crappy headlocks. He cannot lock someone in a headlock. He did it so many times in this match. He did it against Arn Anderson. He cannot lock up a headlock. He was doing a lot of crappy drop kicks. And also, he was bumping on his ass. He cannot take a bump. I feel like in this match, he was falling on his ass. Sometimes he's falling on his lower back. Sometimes a little bit of a lower ass, lower back combo. Yeah, he is so exposed in this match. The fans were starting to turn on the Renegade. In the end, the Renegade got the victory. He hit this crappy back body drop onto Orndorff to win this match. And then afterwards, you got Orndorff trying to beat down the Renegade. The fans starting to cheer for Orndorff because they're getting sick of the Renegade. But Renegade got the last laugh. He hit this type of move off the top rope. Yeah, this is like the beginning of the end of the Renegade. WCW at that time, they were putting so many eggs in the Renegade basket. This is like months before, the Warrior basically buried the Renegade in multiple wrestling magazines. He dropped the TV title to DDP at Fall Brawl in '95 that year. And also at the same time, WCW was promoting the next show. Right, they were promoting a show called Collision in Korea. That was basically the company's next month's pay-per-view. Unfortunately, it was filmed in April that year. Unfortunately, you're not going to see Collision of Korea on the network. I think you could probably find this on YouTube. Anyway, so yeah, and speaking of DDP, I mentioned DDP when he will defeat the Renegade at Fall Brawl in that year. Yeah, DDP was in a match. That's the next match. You got DDP versus Dave Sullivan. DDP, you got the Diamond Doll. That's DDP's wife, soon to be his wife, I think, Kimberly, and Max Muscles taking on Dave Sullivan. Dave Sullivan is basically Kevin Sullivan's on-screen mentally disabled brother. This is like a decade. This is decades, really 10 years before Eugene doing it. Nick Desmore. Anyway, so they had this. I don't think they didn't really have a match, but they had this arm wrestling match at the Great American Bash the previous month that Dave Sullivan win because if DDP won the arm wrestling match, he'll get the rabbit Ralph. I think the rabbit's called Ralph. If Dave Sullivan won and he defeated DDP for that in the arm wrestling match, he gets a date with the Diamond Doll. So yeah, DDP is still pissed off at Kimberly because she cost DDP the arm wrestling match at Great American Bash '95. Like the funny part in this match, he had Dave Sullivan grab like a bunch of roses. He shoved it down, really shoved it towards DDP's face. This match was okay, to be honest. The pace of the match was a bit good. Wait a minute, I forgot. Oh, forgot. There's another match before this. Anyway, I'll get to the previous match after this match. Anyway, so the match was okay. It was okay for what it is. Nothing special. You had Max Muscle, basically like DDP's bodyguard. Trying to got into the ring, got into the ropes, trying to interfere. In the end, DDP hit Dave Sullivan with the diamond cutter to win this match. And afterwards, he's still pissed off of Kimberly. And also, he was confronting a fan, and that was it. That was it. It makes sense because Sullivan won the I don't really call that the match at Great American Bash a match, but they kind of because Dave Sullivan won the arm wrestling match at Great American Bash, so DDP guys win back at Bash on the Beach. Yeah, I forgot there was another match before that. Sorry. You had Jim Duggan taking on Kamala with the Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan in his corner. Everyone knows this week, Jim Harris, everyone knows Kamala, who passed away, so R.I.P. to Kamala. Yeah, I forgot that match. Sorry, I need to write down. I forgot. Sometimes I used to write down matches when I'm doing a pay-per-view review, whether it's from a modern era or classic, whether it's a classic WWE, WCW, ECW, TNA. Sometimes always write down the matches on a piece of paper. But anyway, my bad. So anyway, yeah, I'm talking about Jim Duggan versus Kamala. This match, I can't really talk much about this match. This match was boring. Not a good match. Really, I cover a lot of Jim Duggan's matches on this segment on this channel to Main Get Uncensored. I think Craig Pittman at Great American Bash '95, and this match with Kamala. This match was boring to watch. I don't think there was any feud to this because this was the beginning. Really the beginning of the Dungeon of Doom. Gotta be the worst faction in pro wrestling history. So, anyways, so you got the Zodiac came out of nowhere. I think like Sullivan was distracting the referee. You got basically the Zodiac, that is Ed Leslie, the former Brutus Beefcake, kind of hit Jim Duggan with Kamala's mask. Kamala pinned Duggan for the victory. So yeah, so moving on to the match after DDP and Dave Sullivan, we got basically a three-way tag team match for the WCW Tag Team Championships. We got Harlan Heat, that is Booker T and Stevie Rage. We got Sister Sherry, Sensational Sherry in their corner, defending the tag team belts against the Blue Bloods and the Nasty Boys. The Nasty Boys are Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sags, and then the Blue Bloods are Lord Stephen Regal, the future William Regal, and Robert Eaton, or Robert, was it Robert Earl of Eaton? It's basically the former beautiful Bobby Ian. So this is not really. This is before they're doing like you see right now with triple threat tag team matches. This is before they were doing it. So basically, they did this thing before the start of the match. I think it was one member of. I think it was the Blue Bloods. I think it was all three member. All one tag team member represent each tag team. They kind of flipped the coin which tag team started, and I think the two tag teams started. Well, I think it was Harlan Heat and the Nasty Boys, I think, or the Blue Bloods. Actually, it was Harlan Heat and the Nasty Boys. Yeah, this match was boring as fuck. Sometimes this is a three-way match, a three-way tag team match for the tag team belts. I'm not a big fan. Sometimes I'm not a big fan of like triple threats and fatal four-ways in tag team wrestling because sometimes every time they do that, like sometimes you have to tag into another tag team from another member of a different. Yeah, well, I'll give you an example. You got like, let me see. I'll do a random tag team match. Let me see. You had basically like Street Profits, the Viking Raiders, and I'll throw a random name. Garza and Theory, and let me see like Profit tagging to one member of the Viking Raiders. I don't understand. You have to. I don't like this. I'm trying to explain it properly, but this is this match. So I feel like one more of the match. One member of Harlem Heat, I think it was Booker T or Stevie Ray, tagged in one members of the Blue Bloods. This is similar to like the tag team wrestling you see right now. I hate that because for one, you're not in a multi-man tag team match. It's not like a multi-man tag team match. Like a six-man tag team match or an eight-man tag team match, because you're not teaming. You're fighting each other for the tag team belts. That's what I'm trying to explain. Yeah, this was I don't like that because I'd rather have like three guys represents each other tag team start this match. Like you ever see a triple threat match? You start three guys starting out in the ring. I'm trying to say, I like that, but to have one tag team tag another tag team, they're not really tag team partners. It's kind of confusing, not just back then, but right now. Yeah, this match was boring, no chemistry. This match never got off its second gear. In the end, you had basically Sags pin Booker T, but at the same but at the same time, Booker T was on top of Regal, so he self-proclaimed that. I thought like the Nasty Boys won this match. Unfortunately, Harlan Heat retained the tag team belts because Sags pins Booker, but at the same time, Booker was top on Regal, and this is so fucking confusing. And I think the match rules is that if a one member of a tag team gets disqualified, he'll be out of the tag team match. Why could it be an elimination match? It'd be more better as an elimination match. Why could it be like this? Why could it just be like if let me see if one member pins the other member of a different tag team, that tag team get eliminated. Why could it be like this? Why could it have basically like Sags pins Booker T and Booker T pins Regal, the Blue Bloods are eliminated? No, they just basically Sags pins Booker T and Booker T pins Regal, and Harlan Heat won the tag team belts. Fucking stupid. Why could be an elimination format? I don't get it. I think that back then, I done my research back then. Before they start doing like fatal four ways and triple threats, they started like they do like flip a coin which two guys started. If you the winner of this match will face the other. No, trying to say, I need a drink, man. Fucking, it's hot where I'm from. I need a glass of water. Ah. Anyway, so what I'm saying, like, why could it be like this? Yeah, but back then, you had three guys. You had like 1-on-1. You start out 1-on-1. One if one of them pins, wins that match, they'll face the other match straight away. Unfortunately, they didn't do that. They didn't do that. It's basically three guys in the ring, and it's just a boring, slow-paced match. I'm trying to say. Sorry about the story, man, because I haven't drunk. I haven't like drink for about nearly an hour. Sometimes I speak too fast. Anyway, so and the most funny part of this match is Booker T. His shouting towards the fans was kind of entertaining for me, but besides that, this match was so boring. Anyway, moving on to the really the double main events. We got Ric Flair and Randy Savage in a lifeguard match. A lifeguard match is basically a lumberjacks match. So their rivalry between Flair and Savage, they had a rivalry in the WWF in 1992, but their rekindled rivalry was in 1995 when basically Ric Flair came back. He came back at, I think it was Uncensored of 1995. This was during the match between Savage and Earthquake. Basically, Ric Flair disguised himself as a woman. That caused a DQ because that was a bullshit. That was bullshit because Uncensored is anything goes. That's the gimmick of that pay-per-view. Anyway, so the following month's pay-per-view, that is not following month. I think it was the next month's pay-per-view. That was not next month, but the next pay-per-view was called Slamboree of '95. You had Flair basically beat down and attacked Randy Savage's father, Angelo Poffo, when you had Poffo accepting his Hall of Fame, and then basically had Ric Flair basically locked Angelo Poffo in the figure four leg lock, and then it set up the next month's pay-per-view match at the Great American Bash. And that was a classic. You had Ric Flair hit Randy Savage, basically using Randy Savage's dad's cane to get the victory. So, yeah, this match was the lumberjack match. I'm not a big fan of lumberjack matches. There could be a hit or miss because sometimes it can be a car crash, but it wasn't a car crash. There's hardly any members of the lifeguards or the lumberjack, whoever you call them, interfered. Actually, there's one. You had Arn Anderson, basically Ric Flair's bestie, interfered. Like one more of the match, he hit Randy Savage with the DDT, trying to help Ric Flair to get the victory. The bulk of the match, you had Flair kind of work on the leg of Randy Savage, and locked him in the figure four leg lock. And Savage countered the figure four leg lock, turned on his back, to do a reverse figure four leg lock, I think. In the end, Randy Savage hit like a diving elbow to win this match, and also you had Randy's dad, Angelo, was near in the crowd, with not wearing the t-shirt. Basically, finally, Randy got his revenge for his dad. I wish they did it at Great American Bash, but it's just one. At least Randy got his win back. I'd rather they did this. Did it at Great American Bash, and then Flair, Savage win the match at Great American Bash, and Flair win it on this show. But unfortunately, that's not really the case. I think they still continue this rivalry between Savage and Flair, and the reason why they're teaming up with Flair teaming up with Arn Anderson. This is basically planting the seeds of the reformation of the Horsemen. I think they reformed at the end of 1995. I think it was like at Halloween Havoc or something. He had the blow off at Starrcade of '95 that year. Okay, moving on to the main event. The main event, we got Hulk Hogan, the WCW World Champion, taking on Vader in a steel cage match. Basically, this is basically a blow off of that rivalry between Hogan and Vader. I think they feuded in '95. I think it was late I'm guessing it's like late '94 and early '95. So basically, you had Fader doing this Fader roadkill tour. Basically, he was travel around the country competing in squash matches to prepare for this match with Hogan. Um, yeah, And by the way, before we get to that, the match between Flair and Savage, it was a good match. It's a downgrade from that match at Great American Bash, but that was a classic. But like I said, it was okay. It was okay. It was a decent match. Anyway, and back to let's get back to the main event. Sorry, folks, I've got to talk about is it a good match? Is it a bad match? It was a good match. Why it is, good and decent at the same time. But anyway, back to the main event. The steel cage match between Hogan and Fader, and this is for the fucking the youth center. This because the two matches I mentioned earlier, really the start of this pay-per-view review is it was filming on it. It's the same time they were filming an episode of Baywatch. Flair versus Savage and Hogan versus Vader. Anyway, so this match was good. This was a decent, good match. Like one moment of the match, really they kind of use Vader's helmet as a weapon. Like Hogan kind of slammed Vader onto the helmet, and Hogan was at the same time wearing Vader's type of helmet. Was it helmet armor type of thing? It was more like a armor than a helmet. Anyway, one moment of the match, he had Vader. He did like a move on top of the fucking cage. That was cool. Actually, this match was really good for what it is. They told a good story. I think Hogan kicked out of the Vader bomb. In the end, Hogan hit the leg drop onto Vader. He climbed the cage. Oh yeah, and before that, you got the Taskmaster and the Zodiac trying to interfere this match. He had Dennis Rodman, who was in Hulk Hogan's corner in this match. You thought Rodman did socialize Hogan in the Monday Night War era when they were a part of the NWO. In the late '90s, but I think he was in the corner of Hogan's match from the previous year's Bash of the Beach of '94 in his match with Flair. Yeah, you had Rodman trying to chase away the Taskmaster and the Zodiac. This is kind of like planting the seeds of the rivalry, the gotta be the worst rivalry in pro wrestling history. Not the worst, but one of the worst rivalries in pro wrestling history between Hogan and the Dungeon of Doom. I'll get to that afterwards. Hogan, climbed it. In the end, Hogan climbed the top of the cage, escaped the cage to win this match, and then afterwards, you got Ric Flair came to the inside of the cage, and basically shouting towards Vader something about you cost me the youth center. I don't think it was part of the episode of Baywatch, so I'll probably find it. I don't know why they did that. So basically, Vader did not turn babyface. He basically didn't really attack Vader. He kind of confronts both Flair and Anderson, and that was the end of the show. So anyway, so my final rating of Bash at the Beach of 1995, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. Just on the goods, the only two good matches you're worth watching has to be Flair versus Savage in the Lifeguard match, and Hogan versus Vader in the Steel Cage match. They were good, but they're not going to go, wow, I need to watch this match. No, there were better matches on the show. Unfortunately, they did not save the show, to be honest. In the middle, you had the United States title match from the opener. You got Sting and Ming, and also DDP and Dave Sullivan. That was not too bad of a match, but nothing special. And there were a lot of bad on the show. You got fucking Renegade and Paul Orndorff, Kamala versus Jim Duggan, and the Freeway tag team match for the tag team titles. That was boring. So yeah, 95 was really the bad year for the business. And it's not just for the company, but in the business in 95, in both in the two major wrestling companies in WCW and WWF. And by the way, the episode of that episode they filmed of Baywatch, it was on season 6 of Baywatch, episode 15. That episode will not arrive until February of 1996. By time the episode was aired, Vader is no longer with WCW. He left the company to wrestle in the World Wrestling Federation. And this was basically the end of the rivalry between Hogan and Vader. And then I think in 95, really in the autumn of 95, Hogan was feuding with the Giant. The Giant will be the future Big Show. That'll be another story for another time. So, okay, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy my review of WCW Bash at the Beach 1995. Hope you like it. So, leave the thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button. Click the bell. And next time in this segment, we're still keeping this summer theme WCW pay-per-views going because I did Beach Bash 92, Bash at the Beach 95. It's very difficult. What's the next classic WCW pay-per-view review? Let's review another Bash at the Beach. The next one I'm planning to review Bash at the Beach 2000. I'll probably save it for next time, probably next week. I'm gonna review Bash at the Beach 1997 because that will be the 1-year anniversary of the formation of the NWO. Okay, this is the Central Man officially signing out. Check you later.